How are you? Welcome again, and this time it's duck, as we consider three ancient cuisines, China, Greece, and Rome, those cuisines which most influenced the West. And I'll bet that you didn't know that duck was very, very popular in ancient Rome, and certainly very popular in ancient Greece, and it has always been popular, as far as we know historically, in China. In 1873, a big Yankee clipper ship pulled into the New York harbor and delivered 9 ducks to Long Island. And those white ducks, 9, have you got that? Let me see, there, 9, grew, and the millions of ducks that we now consume in our country from Long Island, called the Long Island duckling, is really a duck from Peking. They came directly from China. Interesting to think about that, because the duck has been prized for centuries in China, as well as in Greece and Rome. Rome loved them, the Greeks eat them and enjoy them, but the Chinese have just, but China, they love ducks. I went to a Chinese duck farm just outside of Hong Kong. And here you see the little ducklings, and they're all situated in little sociologically stratified units. And here you see the larger ducks, and I was doing, there I go. I was doing my best to talk to the ducks. Well, they weren't going to talk with me, I'll tell you that. So I went out of the duck pen, which is not a healthy, nasty, nice place. You know, it's really pretty messy, and picked a bunch of vegetables on the side of the road, just the tops from some greens, and they finally came and talked to me. Now, the ducks are taken from the duck farm to wonderful places like this. The top of the Lee Gardens Hotel in downtown Hong Kong, it's in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong Island. Wonderful place. Rainbow Room is the name of the restaurant. And here is the chef. His name is Chef Leong. And first he blanches the duck. So he poured boiling water over it. And now he's pouring a bit of maltose and sugar. I'll show you how to do this in just a minute. So much easier than my other Peking duck recipes. Oh, this guy's marvelous. He's just terrific. There you have it. Now, he's going to dry that and roast it, and it's placed in an oven. The fire is in the center of the oven, so that the duck, he has to dry it for several hours. You see, the fire is in the center of the oven, so that the duck is not under direct heat. And then, after about an hour of roasting time, Chef Leong takes the duck out, wipes them a bit, and then he's going to serve them to us. Notice he's on the top floor of the Lee Gardens Hotel. He looks out over the whole city, and boy, do they have a dining room. This is the Rainbow Room, and when they throw a party, I'm there with several friends, some very dear Hong Kong friends. Here's Chef Leong. This is Amy. That the gorgeous woman you just saw. Amy is the head of the PR division of the Lee Gardens Hotel. You really should go visit there for a meal, if not to stay. I love the place. So the chef is now serving the duck. You notice he slices it very carefully. Each piece has a piece of skin on it. And look what he's putting it on. He sets it on the top, of all things, of potato chips, so that the potato chips absorb the fat that would seep into it. Now, a Peking doily, or a little tiny tortilla, is filled with a bit of duck, and then a little bit of onion, and then some hoisin sauce, and that is rolled, and you have the most wonderful meal possible. You eat this as a kind of burrito. Now, on the street, you can buy ducks roasted all of the time, because I told you ducks are common in China. Here, they're unusual, but in China, they're everywhere. Roasted ducks. This is the takeout place. And this fellow sells dried duck and sausages, and you can see the dried ducks saying, look, they look like they've been run over by a truck, but they haven't been, of course. They've been dried and flattened out. So let me show you today how to make a Peking duck. I'll do some Greek ducks later on, but I think Peking duck's the thing you really want to see. It's not terribly complicated. In our culture, we cannot buy ducks like this. You see, the duck is complete. This is the kind that he was using, you see. The head, the whole works is here. But you can't buy these in our culture. So what I'm going to suggest you do is to go to a market and buy a duck from the frozen foods cabinet, because that's the only place you're going to find one. There we are. And first thing you do, after you defrost him, boy, already I'm covered with duck fat and we're just getting started. This, for me, was the most wonderful attempt at cooking for you, because I really love duck. First of all, what you want to do is to tie up the duck. And we're going to start with his neck. Now watch what I've done here. You see? I've simply sealed him up with wires. These are called poultry pins. And then you tie him up. So once the neck is done, then you can do the bottom. And once the bottom is ready, leave a hole about like so. And into that, we're going to put, into that cavity, we're going to put a mixture. I got this from Chef Leon. He was very kind to tell me. We're going to put a mixture. Here it is. See, just a little bit of this, of salt, about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Excuse me, that's a 1/4 tablespoon. I'm sorry. 1/4 tablespoon of salt. A 1/2 teaspoon of 5 spice, which is a mixture of cinnamon and clove, all kinds of wonderful things. You have to get that at a Chinese market. A 1/4 teaspoon of MSG. Now, come back to me. This is optional. This is optional. When I say MSG, I mean unless you are allergic to MSG. About 2% of our culture has what they call a Chinese restaurant syndrome. I don't worry much about it myself because it's never happened to me, but some people have it happen. So a little bit of MSG if you like. And then a bit of sugar, about a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar, and rub that mixture inside the bird. Now, I've already done that because I'm trying to show you how to sew him up. So let me show you how to do that. We need some more pins here. Where do the pins go? Underneath. Here they are. And what you want to do is to, there, you can see this now. Put a pin in, sew the whole rascal up here by running the pin through the skin on each side. Want to fold the tail up inside. You remember I did this for you once, years ago, and I used a bicycle pump and everything to pump up the duck. Well, that's not how Chef Leon does it. As a matter of fact, nobody in Hong Kong does it that way. So I've learned a lot, and this is much easier. Now, I will continue threading it down this way. You see, you simply hook it under there. Now, I'm going to tie this a double, what do they call it? A&P knot's all I know. Rather than 1/2 granny, tie a double granny. And then again, and tie the whole bird up this way so that the juices inside, the salt and the 5 spice will not leak out when he's being hung, because we're going to hang this rascal up to dry for some time. As a matter of fact, several hours. There. Whoops. Missed a hook. There we are. Okay, he's finished. Now, I need to make a sling. I need to make a sling for him. So I'll tie him up. Let's cut off the excess thread here. We're going to tie him up and make a sling for him this way. I've taken a bit of, here's something else you can use too. If you prefer, you can go to an upholstery shop and get an upholstery needle. You see how this is shaped? See how this is shaped? And you can just sew this rascal up in nothing flat. And it might be a little bit quicker for you. Because I want you to cook this dish off and on. It does take some time. This is not something you prepare when you see the relatives coming up the walk. This is something you prepare when you have a couple of days at home and a glass of sherry and some things to read, because it does take some time. All right. So I prepared a sling for him. And I'm going to put the sling under his wings in the back here. There you are. Do you see? And thus, I can pick him up. Well, you can usually pick him up. You get the slings in the right place. There you are. You see, I can pick him up now. All right. Now, I'm going to put in the sink a big kettle of boiling water. Several quarts of boiling water. Because the first thing we need to do for the duck, is that the right word, do for the duck? The first thing we're going to do with the duck is to blanch him. And I'm going to use boiling water, and we'll simply pick him up. And I want you to do this several times. You see, the water's boiling, and you just pour the water over the duck, and it tightens up the skin, and it draws out most of the oil, so that the duck, while it still tastes very rich, is not quite as, what's the word I want? Fatty and, oily, you see? There. All right. Do that about 8 times. And then let them hang up to dry for a bit. And in the meantime, I'm going to get one more thing ready for you. And that is a syrup. So now we have inside some seasoning. Outside we've blanched the duck with boiling water. Now, this you must find in a Chinese market. It is maltose, malt sugar in a liquid form. I want about a cup dissolved in a cup of water. Water it is. There. It'll just take a moment to dissolve. You saw Chef Leon do that. And that's what you want. Boiling water. It'll melt the sugar. There. That's just about coming on. Now we need to add to that a bit of rice, of red, not rice, but red wine vinegar. And that's a very interesting, let's see, where's mine? I bet it's back here. It is. This is from the Amoy company in Hong Kong. When we did the condiment show, do you remember I went to the roof and we saw Chef Tin, Master Tin. Make soy sauce. Well, they also make nice rice and vinegars. Actually, they're partially rice and partially grains. Put in about 3 tablespoons of red Chinese vinegar, or you can use red wine vinegar from America. That's perfectly all right. And then finally, we want 3 slices of lemon. Let me get a good lemon here. And just slice it off. Boy, that's dull. I thought that was ready to go, but it's not. There we are. 3 slices of lemon. That goes into your 1 cup of boiling water, 1 cup of maltose, or malt sugar syrup, which you can buy in a Chinese market, and 3 tablespoons of red Chinese vinegar, or you can use red wine vinegar. All right, pour him over the duck. Actually, I want you to ladle him. Remember how Chef Leung was doing this? But I'm just going to pour him over mine, because we just don't have enough time to do these things each day. I wish we had several weeks together, and we just don't. At least not at once. All right, here he is. Now my sauce. And I'll pour the sauce. You can hook this up. Hook this rascal up on the knob on your kitchen cabinet. You know what I mean? I'm just standing here like a bump on a log, but if you hook it up on your kitchen cabinet, why, it'll work fine. And then you can just ladle this over him slowly. Ladle it several times. And now comes the fun part, because the kids are going to come in and say, Dad, Mom, what are you doing? And you're going to say, I am drying a duck. You hang him up on the same gadget that I just told you about. I'm going to put him down here, because I have one already drying for you. Sit down, dear. There you are. And here, I have a duck ready for you. You see, he's been drying now in front of a fan. This is how they do it in the shop. I was in the shop. This is how they do it. Don't laugh at me. This is exactly how they do it. Hang it in front of a fan and let him go around a little bit, you see. He turns around, and after about 4 or 5 hours, he's ready to go. So we're going to put him in the oven now. That's all there is to it. Remember, I used to pump him up with basketball. Let me show you this one. This is how he would come to you if you bought him in a big Chinese market. They have a special rack, and you see, they use the bird with the head on. And they have a special holder for him, and they fill him up very much like I have just done for you, and then roast him. But these, I can't even find these things. I couldn't even find these racks in Hong Kong. Isn't he marvelous? Let's just put him out here on the side so we can get to him in a minute. That's a duck from the Kwok Company here in Chicago, a very fine Chinese roasting house. Now, I've put my duck on a rack, and I roasted him after I let him sit for several hours, you see, with a fan on him. I roasted him for about 20 minutes at 400 degrees, and then turned the oven down to 375 and roast him for a total time, are you with me, of 25 minutes per pound for the whole roasting time of the duck, including the first 20 minutes. So a 4-pound duck, 4.5-pound duck will take you about an hour and a half total time. But the first 20 minutes at 400, and from then on at 375, and this is what you get. Our style. This is not distinctly Peking, but certainly so close that when you want to make one of these at home, you can have he's ready. So cooperative. What we've done is to oil this rack. You see the rack we used? We put a little bit of oil on it so that the duck didn't stick, because he does have sugar on his body. That's exactly the situation. All right. Now, let me show you how to serve this. I need my cleaver. And I need I just love this dish. Let me put him out here for you. And a little bitty plate for myself. I'm going to have one of these. Now, first of all, you need a Chinese doily, which is really kind of a very thin wheat tortilla. And on that, you can put a bit of onions in slivers, or look at this. Look at this. Craig just made these for me a minute ago. Look at this. If you want to cut an onion a piece and then slice the edges and set it in cold water, it turns into a little flour. And that's what they were using at this fancy Lee Gardens restaurant. Wonderful place. Now, hoisin sauce can be purchased in any bottle, any market under good labels. This is a House of Tang. I like it very much. But just a smidgen. They put too much on it in Hong Kong. I don't want so much. Just a little bit. And finally, we're now going to slice some meat. So here's what we're going to do. We'll just take a slice of the breast meat. Oh, look at that. That is as close to heaven as I expect to come under these circumstances. And this is then put in the pancake, and the pancake is then rolled up. Fold over the end. Whoops, little onion stuck out there. Fold over the end. And this is it. This makes the burrito, makes everything else in the world pale. I love Peking duck. So there's one that you can make, and I'll put out a little sandwich in front of you. Now, if you buy one of these ducks with the whole duck with a head on it, I don't even have time to show you one. I'm just going to take one out of an oven. This is a dish called duck as a mandolin. We saw this in the streets of Hong Kong. And look at this. He is cooked in such a way. Greg, I'm going to need another great big oval platter, please. He's cooked the same process. That is to say, you rub the inside. You see, I put him on a board here. You rub the inside or the underside with the mixture of salts and goodies, and then the outside you blanch, and then you let him dry for a bit. But he looks like a mandolin, literally. That's the nature of it. My oven wasn't big enough to put him up straight, but if his head is up straight, then you see it looks just like a mandolin. You see that? Isn't that a riot? And that's what they call it. Duck as a mandolin. Very popular in Hong Kong. And of course, it's simply a variation on the Peking duck. Just a variation. Let's put him, put him where? Out. I think he's so gorgeous. Let's put him here. Okay. Isn't he wonderful? Slice him the same way. You eat the skin first. And then later on, you can do some other wonderful things with him. Now, I have a dish in the oven. Actually, it's on the top of the stove that I've got to share with you because he's the simplest way to cook a duck properly. And Americans say, duck. It's too greasy. We don't cook it. It takes so much time. Watch this one. All right? We have a casserole. And in the casserole, I have placed one whole duck in, these are Chinese, these are old sandcast casseroles. Aren't they marvelous? I want to put this on the burner here for you. There. All right, you see I've browned the duck. I've cut it into about 6 pieces and browned him. Now this is the simple part. This is where we have the good time. I've sauteed in a frying pan a little bit of garlic, 3 cloves, some yellow onions, green onions, about 3 onions, green onions, you see, and just a little bit of ginger, which I've julienned. You see little sticks? See that? See the oil all over my hand? That means, of course, I put some peanut oil in this. Saute those very quickly. Just a moment. Put that in the kettle with the duck. There's no other seasoning yet. Now, we add then about 8 Chinese mushrooms that I've soaked ahead of time. These are dried mushrooms. Soak them and then put them in the pot. Oh, this is so good. And then you add, here we go. You add 3 cups of good Chinese chicken broth or chicken broth from a can. Please don't use those bouillon cubes. They're nothing but salt and garbage. You don't want that sort of thing. Now, I'm going to add some sherry. Good dry sherry that you could drink. Remember that? Never sherry that's called cooking sherry. That's just loaded with salt. Half a cup of sherry. And then we need some light soy. About 1/4 of a cup of light soy sauce. That's plenty. Isn't this fun? You measure it carefully and you'll have a great time. A little bit of sugar. Sugar is wonderful in that it helps bring out flavors. And don't worry, if it's a half teaspoon, which is I'm putting in here, a half teaspoon of sugar is not going to add a lot of calories to your life. But it's certainly going to help improve the flavors. Now, the last thing I want to put in here is mainsi. And mainsi is a fermented soybean product, very close to soy sauce. I'm going to put in about a half tablespoon. And it's called, on this bottle, Longevity brand, it's called soybean condiment. Soybean condiment. You can find the little old man. You see, it means longevity. And it's a very good brand. It's made in San Francisco, but you get this from China too. There. So you want soybean condiment, or the proper name for this condiment is mainsi, M-E-I-N-C, S-E-E, mainsi. Bring that to a simmer, put the lid on, and let it go for a while. I have one all finished here. Oh, this is just heaven. Just heaven. Ouch, 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 ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. Oh, we're all going to go under unless I get a pot holder. If you're a young person learning to cook, remember, don't ever pick up something hot on the stove and then start off to put it down unless you know where you're going to put it. Only the dum-dums, like me, would pick up something from a stove and say, now where am I going to put it? It's too late. If you don't know where to put it, you shouldn't have picked it up. So now we'll pick it up. This is cooked for about an hour and a half on the top of the stove. You can use any kind of casserole you like. Oh, it's delicious. It's really wonderful. Now, I have some others. For instance, here's one that is a gift to me from my friend Florence in Seattle. I don't have time for the recipes for these, but I just thought I'd show you anyhow. You know what I mean? Florence is a doll. When I was 14 years old, she gave me this recipe, my first duck recipe. And she runs the Wasang Grocery in Chinatown in Seattle. And what she does is to put some wonderful soup stocks and seasonings inside of the bird and then roast him. Oh, he's wonderful. Let me get it. I don't have enough room for all these things. There we go. He's just a delicious thing. I won't have time to chop him up, but I'll put him out. This one I'll have for you in a book, but you'll just have to guess about it until then. Let's see. There are several things missing. Here we are. Have you ever seen a dried duck? You go to Chinatown, and this is a duck. Whoops. Look, it turned him off camera. You can't even see him. He looks like he's been hit by a truck, you see? He's enormously flat. They press him out and then dry him. And what you do is to chop up the meat. A little of the bone, of course, is going to come with it. And then you soak it. You reconstitute it. Or the Chinese use the word develop. They use the word develop. So I chopped up some of the meat from a duck. See this? There it is. And in about 2 hours in fresh water, it sort of comes back. And you put that on the top of a chopped pork dish with marinated goodies in it, a little bit of soy and sherry and that sort of thing. And look what you have. Oops, I got the wrong one here. Let me get to these. All right. There we are. I had the wrong one here. Now I've got him. I marinated the ground pork for a time with some soy, ginger, and sherry. And then on the top of the dish, I placed a bit of the duck, which was sliced, dried, you see, and soaked ahead of time. So now you have duck on pork, steamed. That is a great delicacy. And families have fights. I tell you, this is the truth. Family has fights over who's going to get the biggest slice of the dry cured duck. It's that delicious. It's very unusual. I think it's probably an acquired taste for you and I, but that doesn't matter. All right, now, I want to do a bit of hacking on this one. This is a tea-smoked duck. You ever had this one in a Szechuan or Hunan restaurant? So good. And to serve him, you simply cut him a bit. Oh, there. If you don't like to hurt yourself with a cleaver, put a piece of black rubber hose or, old rubber hose in the back of your cleaver, and then you'll be all right. But you see how nice and moist the meat is? It's just gorgeous. And you just hack this up into bite-sized pieces and put him back on the platter and serve him. And the smoky flavor this is cooked 3 times, so I admit it takes some time. And you'll enjoy it. Now, today's finale. You're not going to believe this. Unless you are really a Chinese aficionado, you're just not going to believe this. One of the great delicacies of the duck lovers' world is the foot. Now, I don't mean the leg. I mean the foot. Because the duck feet have a lot of gelatin in them. And gelatin is considered to be a very luxurious sort of thing in China. So I have for you a plate of duck feet that I have first of all lewed or cooked in master sauce. Let me get them out here for you. Look at all the ducks. And this really is a foot. You see? It is just the foot. And the webbing, don't start on me. This is a great delicacy. See, the webbing is very gelatinous, and you pick these up and put them in your mouth and just sort of suck the meat off of the bone. And my friend Mary Young and I in San Francisco go out to great dim sum houses in San Francisco and eat these by the bowlful. They're wonderful. So we've celebrated duck. And there's some things you can do with a duck that you didn't know about. Please don't think anymore that a duck is something that Americans should only fiddle with on occasion. A duck is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And with very little planning, you can cook wonderful duck meals. I've proved that to you. We have duck that has been smoked. We have duck that has been cooked Peking style. Very easy to do, much easier than my first method. We have duck mandolin style, which looks like a great big guitar or mandolin, or duck in a pot, which is easy to do. And if you have any nerve at all, I'm going to urge you to cook duck feet, just like this. Now, why has the duck always been so popular in China? Well, I have some other dishes. As a matter of fact, I have a Greek dish right here of duck in olives. See, the rest of the world enjoys duck too. This is beautiful. But the Chinese love duck because they're efficient. Ducks take care of themselves, and they come home to bring you wonderful treasures. So always, if you'll pardon me, always thank your duck. This is the Frugal Gourmet. I'm glad we could be together. Until I see you again, enjoy duck. I bid you peace. Bye-bye.